Halloween is the time of year where ghosts and goblins, monsters and mummies can be seen walking the streets of your very own neighborhood. But monsters aren't the only things you have to watch out for this Halloween. There's also cars on the road, and they can be pretty scary too. So when you go out trick-or-treating, do it with a friend, or better yet, take an adult along with you. Wear bright clothes, carry a flashlight, and if you have to cross the street, look always before you do it, because on Halloween, there are frights lurking around every corner. People love scary movies all year long, but they especially like them at Halloween time. Two of my favorites are Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes and Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. These movies are funny, frightening, and creepy. Best of all, they do it without a drop of blood being spilled. So check them out at your local video store this Halloween. You won't be sorry, but you just might be scared. I know, it's October and you've already been in school for 2 whole months. The last thing you want to do is read a book. But you know what? Reading books isn't always hard work. I learned that with this book, The October Country by Ray Bradbury. It's filled with stories that are creepy and just perfect for this time of year. Now that's my favorite book. To find your favorite book, visit your local library and ask the librarian there to give you a hand. It is what they're there for, after all. People love to be scared. That's why scary movies will always be so popular. First of all, they're safe. You know it's just a movie, and if things get too bad, you can always close your eyes or turn the channel. Second of all, being afraid can be good for you, just like laughing out loud can be good for you. So if you're looking for a funny, scary movie, I recommend you check out some of the Abbott and Costello movies where they meet one of the classic film monsters. They're funny movies, but every once in a while, they get downright scary. You know, there's no better place to be at this time of year than Western New York. That's because over the years, this area has been a magnet for all kinds of weird and wonderful happenings. Of course, Niagara Falls is rumored to be haunted by dozens of ghosts. People have died there over the years. In Lewiston, there's what is the only haunted McDonald's in all of America. And on Grand Island, the Holiday Inn is rumored to be haunted by the ghost of a 5-year-old girl who died there in a fire many years ago. With that kind of history behind it, is it any wonder that the World Horror Convention was held in Niagara Falls in 1997? Do you ever wonder where some of our Halloween traditions got started? Well, getting dressed up in costume dates back hundreds of years to Celtic times. It seems the Celtics believed that on All Saints' Day, the souls of the recently deceased would rise up from the grave and seek out new bodies to inhabit. By dressing up in outrageous costumes, the Celtics were assured that the spirits would overlook them and go searching somewhere else for a new body. And I bet you thought that Halloween was just an excuse to get dressed up like Bart Simpson. Are you going souling this Halloween? That's the 9th century European custom that over time became our tradition of trick-or-treating. Seems in Europe, on All Souls Day, beggars would go from house to house asking for soul cakes, which are little square pieces of bread. In exchange for the soul cakes, they promised to say prayers for the recently deceased to speed their passage into heaven. So when you go out souling, trick-or-treating, don't forget to have fun, but play safe. And when you're done, get an adult to check through your goodies. After all, we wouldn't want any souls to get mixed in with the candies now, would we? There are plenty of monsters in today's horror films, like Jason and Freddy Krueger. They're pretty scary, but they're not classic. Classic monsters are the ones that are as frightening today as they were 50 years ago, like the Frankenstein monster, Count Dracula, the Mummy, the Wolfman, and the Phantom of the Opera. How classic are they? Well, the U.S. Postal Service honored each one of these monsters with a postage stamp of their very own. Now, let's face it, I don't think Freddy Krueger will be showing up on a postage stamp anytime soon. Who is Dracula? And who created Frankenstein anyway? If you're a big fan of horror movies, you might think that these two characters were dreamt up in Hollywood. But while there have been lots of movies made of Frankenstein and Dracula, the truth is that both of them had their origin in books. Dracula was written by Irish novelist Bram Stoker in 1897, and Frankenstein was written by Mary Shelley way back in 1818. The movies have expanded on these two characters over the years, but if you want to find the roots of them, it all began with books. It's a funny thing that, candle inside a pumpkin, it all dates back to an Irish folktale about a notorious trickster named Jack. It seems Jack tricked the devil up into a tree and then carved crosses into the trunk to trap him there. When Jack died, they wouldn't let him into heaven because he was such a trickster, and they wouldn't let him into hell either because he had tricked the devil up into a tree. But the devil gave him a single ember to light his way through the darkness, and Jack found that the ember burned brighter and longer if he put it inside a hollowed-out turnip. When the Irish settlers came to North America, they found out that pumpkins were more plentiful than turnips, and they used those instead. And that's why it's called a jack-o'-lantern.